Yuko's family has just moved into a new apartment complex to accommodate her husband's work. For them, this is an exciting new beginning. However, for Yuko, leaving behind her family and close friends brings with it a lot of anxiety. The first few days of organizing and cleaning their new apartment were tough, but luckily, they had some nice neighbors. John and Kelly, who lived next door, were eager to help, helping them organize their belongings. That small gesture, simple and sincere, changed everything. The kindness of John and Kelly's family was not ostentatious or flashy, but it was deeply human. Within minutes, they were chatting like old friends, laughing about how confusing the apartment's layout was. John stopped by later with a toolbox, begging to help Yuko's husband assemble the dining table. It was a quiet kindness, the kind that turned a place of walls and furniture into something more, the beginning of a community. The city, once intimidating, suddenly felt warmer, softer, like a space slowly opening its arms to her. And that's the beauty of human connection. Sometimes it doesn't arrive in big cinematic moments. It comes in cookies on a tray, a helping hand, a friendly smile that says, "You're not alone." The following days unfolded like the first rays of sunlight after a long, cloudy week. Yuko began to notice small details about her new surroundings. The soft hum of morning conversation from the courtyard, the sound of bicycles gliding past the building gate, and the faint scent of freshly baked bread from a nearby cafe. It all felt strangely comforting now, as though life itself was welcoming her into a new rhythm. Kelly and John quickly became an important part of that rhythm. Every morning, Kelly would wave from her balcony, sometimes holding a steaming cup of coffee, her cheerful "good morning" echoing across the small courtyard. It wasn't forced, it wasn't overdone, it was simply warm. That kind of everyday consistency began to fill the quiet spaces in Yuko's heart. Their friendship grew naturally, like sunlight through an open window. On normal days, the family would meet up frequently, exchanging small talk-nothing fancy, just greetings and laughter. Yuko discovered that John was an amateur photographer who loved capturing everyday moments, a child playing with bubbles, a long shadow on a wall, the colors of the sunset. His photos weren't about perfection. They were about recognizing the beauty in everyday life. That philosophy began to inspire Yuko. She spent more time with her family, realizing how much more beautiful life can be when you slow down enough to truly appreciate it. The peace no longer scared her. It became part of her new story, standing as silent witnesses to her family's new beginning. One Saturday morning, as the clouds drifted lazily across the clear blue sky, Yuko met John in the hallway of her apartment building as she was looking for a place to do laundry. Yuko was hesitant at first. She wasn't sure if she was ready to be around strangers, or if she could fit in. But John was friendly and willing to help her. It was a small, almost unforgettable moment. She thanked John with such heartfelt gratitude that something in Yuko suddenly changed. She realized that kindness doesn't have to be loud or overt. It can be quiet, almost invisible, but still powerful enough to build bridges between hearts. Everyday life continued as it always had. She found herself the once nervous newcomer, now part of a living, breathing moment of connection. The city was no longer cold or distant. It had become a tapestry woven of small human gestures, connected by empathy. Yuko felt a quiet sense of familiarity. She thought about how just a week ago, this place had been strange and quiet. Now, it was filled with life and laughter. Sometimes, change doesn't come from grand plans or perfect timing. It comes when people give to each other with smiles, helping each other through difficult times with simple acts of kindness. That's when the unfamiliar becomes home. Life in the new apartment had settled into a comforting rhythm. The days flowed with laughter, the hum of conversations, and the quiet comfort of friendship. But like any story of growth, peace rarely lasts forever. Not because of conflict, but because life has a way of reminding us that true connection is tested in unexpected ways. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon, and the weather had changed dramatically. Yuko was returning home from shopping, but she had accidentally dropped her apartment keys. Her husband was still at work. She didn't know what to do, so she decided to ask for help from the family next door. When Jun opened the door, he saw Yuko standing there, drenched from the rain and smiling. He invited her in for tea. That small invitation contained a silent reassurance. She was not alone. As the rain steadily beat against the windows, they drank tea, ate snacks, and told stories. Yuko listened as Jun recounted their first weeks in the building, the trials, the loneliness, and finally the comfort of meeting other friendly neighbors. She suddenly realized how similar everyone felt, regardless of their background. Amidst the warmth and laughter, Kelly whispered, "We're so glad to see you here today." Yuko was so grateful for their support that she didn't forget to send them her heartfelt thanks. They stood side by side, chatting and laughing, ignoring the rain outside the window. And just like that, the initial unfamiliarity changed. Kelly and Jun were strangers. Their presence had soothed Yuko's loneliness. Now, they were all people who brought peace and stability amidst the small chaos of life. Days passed, and everyday life continued. The bond between the two families grew closer, and somehow it became something deeper. It lit a spark between them. When Yuko returned to her apartment and saw Jun cleaning the hallway, not just in front of his house, but also helping her clean the hallway in front of her family's apartment, she was overwhelmed with emotion. She realized that friendship isn't just built in good times. It's strengthened in moments of uncertainty. The kind of lasting connection doesn't depend on perfection or convenience. It grows from shared efforts to make life a little better, even in the dark. The next morning, Yuko knocked on Kelly's door with a bright smile. This time, Yuko didn't just say hello. She said, "Come over for dinner tonight. I'm making something new." The invitation was small but meaningful. That moment marked the moment when the new apartment was no longer new. It was home, not because of the walls of the furniture, but because of the people who filled it with kindness, resilience, and care. What happened not only tested their patience, but also showed them something essential, that when life becomes dark, the true light comes from the people they love. The days that followed brought a different sense of peace, not the silence of loneliness, but the peaceful rhythm of connection. Yuko often found herself reflecting on how much had changed in such a short time. When she first arrived, the walls of her apartment felt too wide, the silence too deep. Now, those same walls held echoes of shared meals, quiet conversations, and the laughter of friends. The difference wasn't in the place itself. It was in the connections that had taken root. She and her husband realized a powerful truth. A home is not built with bricks and furniture. It is built with empathy and trust. Over time, Yuko's family became more involved in the apartment community. She also organized small gatherings with her neighbors. Together, they turned ordinary moments into shared memories. When we open our hearts to others, we create the kind of world we all long to live in, one where kindness is natural and connection is the foundation of happiness. Life hadn't become perfect, but it had become meaningful. And perhaps that's what true happiness is. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of love strong enough to carry us through it. This is a story for anyone who has ever started over. A reminder that even in the busiest city, love and community can flourish. A cinematic reflection on what it truly means to belong.